Hello, I'm at Cedars Park in Cheshunt in Hertfordshire, and in this video I'll just be walking around and talking about the features. The first thing you'll see when you come to the park entrance is these celebration gates, and these were added in 2002 to commemorate the Golden Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth's reign. And on this gate are some modern art plaques showing the history of the park. And some of these are still quite relevant to today's park. These grounds are the former site of Theobalds Palace, which was an occasional holiday home for Queen Elizabeth I under the ownership of her chief advisor Sir William Cecil. After Elizabeth I died, King James I traded Hatfield House with Sir Robert Cecil for Theobalds Palace, and this soon became his favourite residence, and he spent much of his later life here, dying here on 27th of March 1625. I'm walking through the park. You can see these nice flower beds. There are 4 of them at the entrance, and these 2 large trees, I think they're firs, and there aren't that many people here because it's raining, but in the summer this park is very busy. And it's a relatively small park at 40 acres, around 40 acres, but there are quite a few nice features in the park, which I'll go around and show you. And as you can see here, there is a tank on a plinth and a Great War Tommy statue and a commemorative bench. So this plinth was put here in 1921 to display a female Mark IV tank from the Great War, which was donated by the National War Savings Committee to the town of Cheshunt to thank them for their financial support during the Great War. And this is the original tank was removed in 1940 for scrap to support the troops during the Second World War. And this replica here was added on the 1st of July 2019, and it's a replica of a male Mark IV. And the difference is that the female didn't have these cannons. They just had machine guns, the females. And this is a slightly different colour than the original muddy green, which would have been on the Great War tanks, but it is a very accurate representation otherwise of a male Mark IV, except it's also slightly shorter because it was made for films originally. I think it was originally commissioned for the Magic Flute in 2006, but it was built in 2004. And there's an information board here about it, but this was put here before the replica was put there, so it doesn't have any information about that. And this bench, I can't remember if it was 2014 or 2018, but it was put here to recognise the centenary of the Great War. And you can see here, this is a Tommy statue representing a Great War soldier, and this was put here in late 2019, and there is now an Armistice Day service every year that's centred around this Tommy statue, and there are wreaths around this whole area here. And you can see here that there are some flowers and crosses there that have been put there to remember the fallen in the Great War. And this was made by Welsh sculptor Roger Andrews, and it's very carefully done and is made of solid bronze. And as you can see, he's about 7 or 8 foot, so very tall, but the actual statue is very well made, and I'll just show you around here. And this is somewhat a tribute to the youngest volunteer recruit from Cheshunt, from the Broxbourne district in the Great War, Rifleman 1687 William Ernest Taylor Uglow, and he was in the Queen Victoria Rifles Brigade, and this is their badge, which is done quite accurately. So perhaps the sculptor was thinking of him when he made this statue. You can see here there are lots of trees, and the park has a very mature and varied arboretum with lots of interesting species. And most of these have been numbered, and there's a list available online to view the different species if you're interested. And some of these are memorial trees that people have had to commemorate relatives or friends who have died. Over here you can see two very large London plane trees. These are estimated to be at least 450 years old, meaning that they were planted at a time when royals were staying at Theobalds Palace. So these trees have seen quite a lot in their lifetime. So this area here, these 4 flower beds, are called 17th Century Disability Gardens, and they were added by local charity Vision for Growth, which is a charity supporting blind people and how they can use their local area. And these include some scented plants, sometimes lavender, mint and lemon mint. I don't think there are any at the moment, but they sometimes have nice flowers, as you can see, and they usually have scented ones, which is nice for blind people. And of course they've also included wheelchair access. They've made it wide enough for wheelchairs and low down, and this is what they were thinking of, an inclusive flower bed for blind and disabled people, which is a nice feature. And there are also some similar flower beds with the same idea within this nature centre. And there's a nature centre, like a miniature zoo. Some might say it's the smallest zoo in England. And you can see this is their new information board they had put here this month. And you have to pay to go in here now. It's only £2 per person, which is quite cheap for the amount of animals they have in here. They have kookaburras, tortoises, and lots of different exotic animals. And if you're coming to Cedars Park, it's worth a visit. It's very nice in there. And you can see they have live shows and events here regularly, which is good for everyone, adults and children. Over here, you can see this plaque, and I'll just read from this plaque here because it's a bit hard to read from. This stone was fixed to the Theobalds Park wall at Albury Field. The wall was completed in 1621 by order of King James I, enclosing the royal estate of Theobalds. This was some 9.5 miles long. The stone was presented to the council in 1954 by Mr. Ian Hedworth Gilmore, a relative of Admiral of the Fleet Sir Hedworth Muse, who gave Cedars Park to the people of Cheshunt in 1921. I've just realised I don't think I was showing the plaque as I was talking about that. But here you can see, I'm not sure what that symbol means, but it says 1621 at the bottom. And there's an information plaque about it there. Over there you can see there's a cafe which has barista trained staff, and it's very nice coffee in there. And they have farmhouse ice cream from Styles, which is a I think it's a homemade ice cream company, and they have a contract with that company, I think. And it's very nice ice cream. Over there you have a meeting room and some toilets. Over here you can see that Cedars Park is Green Flag awarded, and this is its plaque for 2021 and 22. These plaques show some of the important people in Cedars Park's history, and they were created in 2014 by Philippa Threlfall. And from the beginning we have Sir William Cecil, Queen Elizabeth I, Sir Robert Cecil, King James I, or 6th of Scotland, Mountain Jennings, or Munton, King Charles I, and Major General William Packer. And round here we have a plaque for Admiral of the Fleet Sir Hedworth Buse, who donated Cedars Park to the people of Cheshunt in 1921. Here you can see a nice row of trees. I think that, if I remember, they're small leaf limes, but you can't see the leaves at the moment because it's April. And here you can see some of the Atlas cedars. Certainly lives up to its name with the cedars. Over there, nice big monkey puzzle tree. I'm just going to walk around to show you this arch now. So this arch and these two huts are made of flint and brick and pudding stone, and some people also believe that they include tufa, which is a type of volcanic rock. And these were built in 1765 by George Prescott, who owned these grounds at the time. The flint work is quite nice, and it shows some of the Georgian architectural styles. If I go around to this other side, you can see it's made of brick, and there's some quite nice triangles and patterns here, kind of narrow niches in the wall, and it's a nice design. This is a red brick, which was popular in Tudor times. And you can see these two huts on the either side, and some people believe that these were summer grottos for taking shade from the sun in the summer. As you can see, they have a doorway on each side with brick on the inside which has been plastered and a layer of flint on the outside. And some people believe that they were ice houses used as an early form of refrigeration. Now I'll just show you inside this one. It's a similar thing, but you can see more of the plaster remains in this one. And personally, I think that they were ice houses, because although they have some windows, some ice houses do have them, and the fact that it's got flint on the outside means that it would have been difficult for heat to come in, and everything inside would have kept cold. And the purpose of an ice house is to scrape ice from the frozen ponds in the winter, put them in here, and they would refrigerate food all year long, as well as drinks such as wine. And most country houses in the 1760s had an ice house, because obviously most people had to refrigerate their food. So this is quite an interesting feature that survives in today's park. And it looks like there might have been two other huts either side of the arch as well, but I'm not sure. Oh, and these niches are up here as well. I don't know if they're purely decorational. They may have been used for candles to light the arch in the night, because this arch was designed to be viewed from the Cedars, which is over there, and there was a moat here, a body of water that reflected the arch, and it made for a nice folly from the Cedars, which is that building over there. Although the Central Park collapsed in 1913, it burnt down in 1913. Oh, I forgot to say, these ice houses may have been pigeonholes for pigeons to nest, and then people could eat their eggs or even catch the pigeons, because pigeon pie was a very popular dish at Georgian palaces. Over here you can see a maze, which was added in recent years, and it's a low-rise maze, but it's good for anyone to go around. It's a bit thin at the moment, you can see you can just walk through, but if you actually follow the paths, it's quite a good maze, and it follows an original plan that was used at Theobalds. It's exactly the same. And you can see the plan here, and it was featured in Thomas Hill's Gardener's Labyrinth magazine in 1594, which was the first gardener's textbook in English. And you can see some information here about the maze. as well as the bocce court, which is here, and I think it was added in 2011. And this is very well used by the local Italian community, who come here almost every day to play bocce. And it's a very nice game, and it's suitable for bocce, boule or any other kind of bowls game, such as pétanque, as you can see there. And I think this was funded by a town twinning association here with the Italian town of Sutera. Over here you can see there's a chalkboard, which is great for children. Local schools can also come here and take lessons on this chalkboard. I haven't seen them personally do it, but it's a nice idea. People have to bring their own chalk to use this. Just down here, around the back of the park, there are 3 wooden animals which people can sit on. I think all these animals were added in 2014, and people like to take pictures with them. But they're very nice. They're made of wood, and this one's a camel. You can see it's quite nice. These did used to be more vibrant in colour, but they faded over the years. Here you can see a tiger, and this used to be orange, but it seems to have turned black over the years, which is a shame. But as you can see, it's been damaged and has faded over the years. I hope the council restore it, because these used to be very, very nice. Here's the elephant, the last of the 3 wooden animals in Cedars Park. And I'm just reading off the information board here, but this is some of the history of animals at Theobalds Palace. James I kept a menagerie of exotic animals at Theobalds, including 5 camels, mules, flying squirrels, a sable, a white hind, elk, 50 herons, 20 French fowl and an elephant. And the elephant was fed on a gallon of wine a day in 1623, supposedly to ward off the cold. Here you can see a puzzle totem pole with 3 different outfits, and you can turn the different modules to mix up the outfits and try and find the right one. This is good for anyone, but children particularly love to look at these different outfits. I'll just show you the different faces here as well. That could be Queen Elizabeth I. That might be James I or Sir William Cecil perhaps. And I'm not sure who this man is here. This is a replica of something at Theobalds Palace called the Venusberg Mound, which was a hill with a spiral-like path that was designed to look over the different gardens of the palace. And this used to be real grass and a gravel path, but it's now artificial turf. Some of this is peeled off. I don't know if that's intentional by people who have come here and vandalised it, or if it's just accidental, but hopefully it gets repaired soon. And you can see the path here. It's in a spiral shape, the same as the original one, and because of this slope, children love to slide down here. And you can see when you're up here, because there aren't any trees at the moment, you can see quite a nice view over the field there and some of the maze as well. This area here, which includes a car park, was part of King James I's Deer Park, which he created in 1607 and expanded in 1620. And this deer park was 2,500 acres. A brick wall was built surrounding the deer park, which was around 10 miles long, but the hunting grounds were short-lived and the land was reclaimed for farming after the Civil War. Here you can see a large field which used to be part of something called the Great Garden at Theobalds Palace, and it's now well used for functions, both private and public. In the wall of the Great Garden there are several bee bowls. These are niches which are designed to hold a kind of disposable beehive which was called a skep. And these were invented in Ireland around 500 AD. And their purpose was to shelter bees from rain, since the optimal conditions of a dry and warm climate inside a beehive often results in higher quality honey being produced. And bee bowls are still in use today around the world, but this is quite a rare example of a bee bowl from this era. Many of the original Tudor bricks remain, but as you can see, some of them have had to be replaced with more modern bricks because of the age of the wall, although it has been treated with soft lime mortar. Here you can see a brick wall with 2 window openings and a doorway, although I will not be walking through here because it will be extremely muddy at the moment because it's raining. But this is a path that goes down to the main entrance over there, and primary schools come here and study the wildlife. They look at the insects. This is all that remains of a house called Old Palace House, which was built in the 1760s along with others called Grove House, Jackson House, Thornton's House and the Cedars. And the Cedars, as part of that, included the Flint Arch over there, which we looked at. These 5 houses were collectively known as Theobalds Square, and they used materials from buildings that had been demolished in the Civil War for the lead which was sold to support the troops. Old Palace House was largely rebuilt in the 18th century, although it burnt down around 1970. There are several plinths around Cedars Park with models of Theobalds Palace, and here you can see there's some information about what they are, which includes Braille. And over here there's a pond. This used to go down here like a swamp, but now the water's mainly in this area here. And there's a nice stream going down from there, and a little fountain which is circulating the water and keeping it clean. Over here is a pergola with different plants. As you can see here, this one is spiralling around this metal railing here, and the plants here are regularly refreshed by local school children, and it looks quite nice when it's covered, such as over there. But at the moment it's not very well covered, I think because it's still quite cold and all the plants haven't come out yet. So that's all I have to say about Cedars Park in this video. I think you will agree that it's a very nice park, and if you're interested in visiting or just would like more information, please visit the website at www.cedarspark.info. Goodbye.